What
Hey,
up, it's your boys, the 9 to 5 boys to be precise. It is your host. I'm with Eric, Gil.
exactly. We've been on a 2 week hiatus because our schedules have been.
I haven't updated about my Memphis trip. So I was out in Memphis. That was the first fuck up, I think, right? Or what was the first fuck up? Like the terms of like scheduling. The first mess up was like I had Memphis, and then wasn't there something last Monday? You had a D&D sesh. That's right.
Monday that night, so that's why we couldn't
Yeah, it was
record.
last. It was
Yeah,
last Monday. Yeah. So
yeah.
Memphis was cool. So I mean, what did I end up doing? It's only been 2 weeks. I need to remember. So I flew. The first day of flying in was kind of a hassle because it was like you do a connecting flight from out here in San Jose to Dallas, and then from Dallas to Memphis. And so I did that, but it was just all day of traveling. And so I get to Memphis at like what's their time, like 3:30, I want to say. I finally get to the hotel at like 5, waiting on the shuttle. But apparently the shuttle turns out it went to the second story, uh, which that sucked. I didn't know that. And then no, yeah, it was cool. So I went for a festival. So it was the first night. It was Earth, Wind, and Fire were playing, and the Lumineers as well. Which is
Yeah.
pretty sweet sets, man. I caught some of the Lumineers because they were playing kind of at the same time as Earth, Wind, and Fire, and I can't pass up Earth, Wind, and Fire. Um,
Right?
they were freaking dope. And then uh, yeah, they were killing it. Super fun. Not a big crowd for it though. It felt like. I mean, it was a lot of people, but it wasn't as big as it should have been. I think. But anyway, mm. The second day was really cool because it was. I went to go see. Let's see. To start off the day on Saturday, oh, it was this rockabilly type of fella named Jason D. Williams. So like he was cool. At one point, he was playing the piano with his butt, so that was kind of funny. He was very eccentric, and I very much appreciated his stage presence. Respect. And then um, I saw Government Mule. I saw Living Color, and I met the drummer for Living Color because he was staying at our hotel. Shout out to Will, the boy.
Okay, there you go.
I just it's funny. We met him in the hotel lobby, and then we were hanging out, and I didn't even know I was hanging out with him until afterwards. So that was cool.
Yeah.
Really nice guy, really funny. Great drummer. And so then also that night was Cameo. Cameo was playing. If you're not familiar with them, they're like a funk band. They're really cool. Um, they played some great tracks. They had a good crowd going. Then after that it was a couple rappers filling in the space, which was really kind of like boring. They weren't particularly interesting. But the enders to the night were the Struts and Greta Van Fleet, both on the same stage back to back. So it was like sweet. Those were great shows. The Struts lead singer, he's got like a magnetic energy to him. He's fantastic. He's got a real good control of the crowd.
Yeah.
Really just a lot of showmanship up there. The rest of the band is fantastic as well. But Greta, oh my god, they were phenomenal. I felt like I ascended a few times during their songs. I remember like distinctly it was during a Safari song. I was vibing out, singing the chorus. I turn around, there's this guy. He's singing along. We're singing together, and then in the break, we're just like, oh man, like the break between songs, we were just like, oh, this is like our first time seeing Greta. I was saying like, is this your first time? And he's like, yeah. He's like, you too? And I was like, yeah, dude. And he was like, oh man, I was so excited for these guys. I'm loving it, man. I'm like, yeah, it's great. And we were like freaking out because they were only on their third song. It was already like a fantastic show. Um,
That's amazing. I love that.
that was super fun. So then the last night was really cool too because it ended with I saw this soul artist Yola. She's like apparently she's British. I had no idea.
Huh.
But
I
she's
mean, the
great. She's
animals is English, so I mean,
well, of course, yeah. I mean, of course, it was. I mean, the British invasion in the '60s was huge. But
yeah.
no, I mean, she's this great soul artist. She's really cool. Wonderful vocals. Great stage presence. And then Gary Clark Jr. was on stage, dude, and that was sweet. And he was shredding it. And
Yeah.
I met this guy in the crowd.
Who was that guy you got a selfie with? That musician.
Oh yeah, I also in the crowd at that show met Selwyn Birchwood. So Selwyn Birchwood, for those who don't know, is this blues artist, and it was also a funny experience. I didn't know it was him either. So I was hanging out in the crowd. I was on my own because my friend who I went with, he was off doing his own thing, and we met later at the festival, and so Selwyn walks up to me, and I look at him and I don't think much of it. I'm like, whatever, he's just another patron, and I'm not really the type of guy who like talks to people out of the blue. If people come to talk to me, I will happily pick up a conversation if like you've got a good vibe to you. I'm very good at making friends out in public that way and at bars and shit.
Nice.
But so I didn't approach him or anything. I didn't say anything because I'm like I don't ever want to bother somebody or make them feel bothered. You know what I mean? That's just kind of me and my own anxieties.
Yeah.
But my friend joins and he turns to him and he's like, "Hey, you look like that Birchwood fellow." He's like, "That's because I am." I was like, "Oh shit!" And so that was really cool. So I was like, "Oh man, I love your Living in a Burning House album. That was sweet." He's like, "Oh, thanks, man." And then I was like, "I hate to do this. Could I get like a picture with you?" He's like, "Yeah, man." And so we got a picture and that was sweet.
Oh.
Very cool. And then and then the rest of the time outside of the festival, what I was doing in Memphis was the first day was really cool because we went to Sun Studios, which is the recording place where Elvis Presley recorded, Johnny Cash, BB King, Ike Turner, and several other people. It was like it was a very famous recording studio back in the day, of course, and it's still active today. It's after hours, after the tour hours, they use it to record stuff, which is super cool. They let us into the recording room where like Elvis and Johnny and BB King and all those motherfuckers I mentioned were standing there and recording their stuff, and it was super cool. Really magnetic. And then we went to the Stax Museum that day, but we came there just before closing, so we had to wait to come back the next day. But we did see. We also on the way to the Stax Museum. This is the thing about Tennessee. People out there are super nice. I know Memphis is like a really dangerous town, high crime rate, really bad. Um, but the people out there, are just the people I at least interacted with, super nice, super cool, super friendly. They were all willing to talk to you and have like a genuine conversation with you, like talk about like life and stuff. I heard like one of my Lyft drivers told me he was like a recovering opioid addict, and like one of my other Lyft drivers told me this one story about how like a passenger tried to suck his dick, and it was like crazy. And he don't even swing that way. I don't even know what their how their vibe is on that, but I was very straight presenting the whole trip. But anyway, it's easy that I can mention I have a girlfriend.
Yeah, that is true.
I
Yeah.
could just say I could just bring that up, and they're like, okay, he ain't gay. Even though I am. But what else happened? Oh yeah, so I was saying, so we a Lyft driver. Was nice enough. We were talking to her about the touristy stuff, and she was like, "Oh, well, Aretha Franklin's house is around here." And we were like, "What?" We stopped by like the birthplace of Aretha Franklin, which we did only for 2 minutes because it's deep in the hood these days. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
real, yeah. I mean, like, we didn't stand out there long, man. You could tell what part of town at. You could tell that was the wrong side of the tracks. Um,
Yeah.
but that was a very uncomfortable experience. Um,
So I'm just
and
picturing that fucking shootout sequence in the first season of True Detective. Anyone who's seen the first season of True Detective, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
it felt that way, man. Some people stepped out their house and they were like, who are these motherfuckers?" But anyway,
Yeah.
so it's like a cool part of we went. So we pit stopped there at Aretha Franklin's house before going to Stax, which made us a little later. But we were also just kind of late in the day. We didn't get to downtown till like 3. We had late starts to the day just because of disagreements in when to start. I would have liked to start earlier to get more things in, but the trip worked out overall in general. I was very happy with it. There was never nothing to do, which was the nice thing.
Well, that's good.
Uh, so Saturday we went back to the Stax Museum, which Stax Records is a famous recording company that like they specialized in revolutionizing soul, and like they also were like a very like mixed company. They had like black and white artists coming together, which like in the 60s was never really heard of course, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
It's a great time of social change. It's wonderful to there's a lot of history in Tennessee. I mean, there's a lot of like um, poor history to it as well. A lot of mistreatment, a lot of struggle. But it's a really nice history, a rich history of like connecting through music and stuff, and it really shows. And it breaches like it crosses boundaries. There was like a big band. I can't. Are they the Bar Keys? I'm trying to. The Marquees is what they are. The Marquees are like an all white soul band, but they sounded like quote unquote black, right? And so, that was another band we saw. We saw the Barkays. They were the opening the first night. They were kind of this like funk rock band, which was really cool. I personally had never heard of them until then, and I was sad that I only learned of them then. But anyway, and then and then on Saturday I also bought my bass guitar. I bought a new bass. I've got it right behind me.
Yeah.
Um, it's sweet. It's a beautiful bass. I'm loving learning it. I only know like two bass lines so far.
Feel Good Inc. and
I know my friend's song. So my friend Jackson has the song called Dreamcatcher. They're in this band Straight Jacket. They're going to release their album soon.
get that little plug in. I get that. I get that.
The little plug, and
Right.
so I learned that bass line too. And in fact, I could probably play it. Let me just set my beer down here carefully. I don't know if it's copyright yet, or maybe I shouldn't play it. I don't know if it's
Yeah,
copyrighted.
don't, because once they
We don't
actually
want
do
to
get
take it
big, they're
down.
gonna strike this video. I know for a fact.
Hmm it's. I'm not gonna say the label they're on, but I know which label it is, and they would definitely do it. But anyway,
Yeah.
uh, the
Well, not them
copyright
personally, but the company that they work for,
the company,
obviously.
not the
So
band, obviously. They wouldn't want to do
yeah.
that. But anyhow, so I bought the bass that day, which was super cool, and then went to the show, and then Sunday I went to the Lorraine Motel, which is where the National Museum of Civil Rights is located.
Oh.
Um, the National Civil Rights Museum, that's what it is, and it's also, I mean, the place where Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. got shot and killed,
Mm.
and it remains kind of unchanged on the outside, at least. We didn't get to go into the hotel room that he was shot in, but
Yeah, you see his blood stains and his brains on the wall. Like,
I'm pretty sure the brains would have run away probably, but the blood would have been there. Um,
I mean, no. If you kept it like nice and dry, it could be mummified. I don't know. I
I
never
s-
made a mummy before.
well, to make a mummy, you need like salt and other shit. That's what I remember from history class. Anyway, it's all about like the preservatives.
Well, it's also cool, dry air. You have to have like the right physical conditions in the room to actually perfectly mummify something, as well as the right ingredients you're actually putting on the corpse.
Yeah, to preserve it. Yeah. It's all
Yeah.
about that. Anyway, so no, that was cool. It was heavy. You need like 2 hours in there at least, and it's just a
Yeah.
lot of harsh history, a lot of good history for
Yeah.
sure. There's like progress, but a lot of harsh history, and it really shows. I mean, like the '60s were such a like a '50s and '60s were such a time of social change and an upheaval of certain values, and it's really interesting too to like it puts it in perspective. Like segregation wasn't that long ago, really.
No, it really
People
wasn't.
frequently try to ignore that, try to say, and they especially try to make it seem old with like black and white pictures. But they had color camera at that point when Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was still alive. Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, it was a great museum, super interesting. I was gonna say super fun, but that's not the case.
No, definitely interesting. Never fun. Interesting.
Definitely interesting. But then, so then Monday I spent a day in Nashville, and that was kind of like getting there was sort of a pain because the only two they had into Nashville during the day, were a bus that left at 4:20
Ta-
or in the morning. Yeah, I know. Or a bus that left at 1 p.m.
What the? That is a drastic like time
It's
difference.
a gap. It's a huge gap between buses, and so um, and Nashville, for those who don't know, is about a 4 hour drive from Memphis. So I was like, I have to be on the bus for 4 hours. So I want to get on an early one to get me in early, so I can spend all day there, and then just head back to the hotel. Now, what I should have done, and what I might do in the future, is, well, maybe even I'll just book in Nashville since I've seen most of Memphis anyway. It's not a huge deal. So I'll book more nights in Nashville because there's a lot to do. Like I spent a day there, right? So like I got up early, and then it was delayed too, and that was kind of the annoying thing. I was like, I'm not even sure if I should get there now, if I should just wait since it's delayed, or I should get there still at like 4 in the morning. But I decided to get there at like 4:45. It was dark out, but the bus was still like an hour late, uh, or like over an hour late. It didn't leave till like 6 a.m. And so I we it took us all the way there, and we got in at like 10 a.m. And then I was just journeying. I took it by myself because my friend who I went with wasn't willing to do the 4 a.m. thing, which I respect.
Yeah.
It's a hard thing to do because especially like Sunday night, we got back from the festival to the hotel like 11, and then I had to turn around and get up at 3, and so
Mm.
like I only got 4 hours of sleep at the hotel. I slept most of the way onto the Greyhound, so it was like 3 to 4 hours really. Um, but anyway, so I got some coffee. I powered through Nashville, and I checked out. Like first, that was the first thing. Oh yeah, it was the Johnny Cash Museum because I first tried to go to the Country Music Hall of Fame and Museum, but they said they didn't have any times, till 3:15. So I was like, okay, I'll just come back at 3:15. And so I went to the Johnny Cash Museum, walked over there. That was cool. You could spend about an hour in there. Um, he had a long, very long, extensive career and a very successful career. That's impressive. So
Yeah.
no, he's like a living legend. I mean, truly, I need to see Walk the Line with Joaquin. I might even just watch that tonight after this.
Not a
See
bad
what
idea.
service it's on. Not a bad idea, because it's a good movie. But anyway, so I did that, and then after that, I went to the National Museum of African American Music, and and I hung out there, and that was really cool too. It was really extensive. Like there's literally what you realize in that museum is there's not a single genre of American music that remains untouched by African Americans and especially by their struggle. You know what I mean? And like
Yeah.
it's very cool. It's very interesting because it goes all the way from like spirituals, um, all the way down to today's like hip hop and rap and R&B and stuff, and whatever's still around, right? Blues, rock and roll, etc.
Yeah.
I mean, the first what's considered by most music historians to be the first rock and roll track is Ike Turner's Rocket 88, and he was a black artist, so
Yeah.
which is good. It's a good song, by the way. It's fun. It doesn't feel very rock and roll, but I guess it is rock and roll, which is cool. So anyway, so that was a really cool museum, but that's where my phone like acted up and went and just shut off for some reason, and I panicked, and like it was funny timing because there was an Apple store right on the corner there.
Yeah, very convenient.
So I
Yeah.
got to go over there real quick. They did a hard reset, and then I was like, I gotta go to this museum real quick, but I'll be back before you guys close to do a full diagnostic. I did that luckily, and that worked out. And then I walked back to this one restaurant that has Nashville hot chicken because I was like, I'm in Nashville. I gotta try the hot chicken here, and it was
Yeah.
really good. It was very good. I went to this place called. That's a great. Fuck. I don't remember.
Damn, you could have plugged them in here, but come on.
I'll have to find it. It's something with poultry. I feel like. Anyway, so I'll figure it out. I'll look it up on maps because I mapped them
Yeah.
a bunch when I was out there. So it's gonna bother me. I sat down there and I had the chicken. It was pretty good. It actually was not even comparable to scratch chicken though out here in San Jose, and I don't know how. But anyway, so I had that and I had a drink and it was cool to hang out there. And I was gonna like just have like one more beer and then go over to a jazz club up the block and check that out because you know me, I love jazz clubs.
Yeah.
But I ended up hanging out there the whole time because I met this guy. This guy comes in, he sits right down next to me, and we say, "Hey, how you doing?" And I decided to go first. I'm doing well, man. I'm just visiting here. And he's like, "Oh, cool. Where are you from?" And I'm like, "I'm from California." He's like, "What part?" And I was like, "Oh, the Bay Area." And he's like, "No way. I live around here too." He works like down the street from my lady's job, which is insane.
Are you serious? Bro, that is literally small world. What the hell?
We're two guys from the same area that we've never met before out here, and we met out halfway across the country in Tennessee, and like more than halfway across the country, in a different just place. And it was really cool to be walking around in Tennessee and like be in a whole different setting, and there's a whole different culture to it. But anyway, so we decided to hang out that night, and we were watching some basketball games, and he bought me a beer and a beignet, and so it was like, oh, sweet, that was really cool. Really nice guy. We got talked about like life and like kids and like the difference between like Tennessee and California. Um, Name was Rick. Shout out to Rick, the boy. And then, God, yeah. Then I spent the last day in. I took the Greyhound back to Nashville late at night, which I made another friend on the bus. You meet so many different people. I met so many different people out there who I feel like I could hit up and like vibe with again if I was out there. Like there was this one guy in the crowd at Garrick Poe Jr.'s set, Garrison, the boy dude. We were chatting and hanging out and vibing, and he's like Memphis born and raised. So I was like, oh shit, next time I'm out here, man, like I'll hit you up and we should do some shit. And I totally will. I think I will. But yeah, I might have to go to that because they have a festival every May called Music in May. And I might just have to go to that every year now. That's kind of like a dope thing to do.
That
But
would be, yeah.
and just exploring Memphis and etc. But anyway, or maybe every other year I should do it.
Because now you got a taste, so you're like, I want the full experience. I want to know every single part of this fucking town.
I want to know every corner and every nook and cranny. I definitely want to spend more time in Nashville next time I go out. But so I spent the last day in Memphis when I got back, and I ended up doing that day. I had to get a new case for my guitar because like I was wanting to ship the guitar from the store to California, which you can do, but they said it was going to be more expensive to ship it than the value of the guitar. So I was like, oh, which like yeah, that's insane. It was already like $250 alone, so like I couldn't imagine having to drag that, having to pay more than that to ship it home. That's ridiculous. So I decided to
Yeah.
take the L and put it on the plane, and that worked out. Luckily, that was fine. And then what else happened, man? I then so last day in Memphis. So after getting the guitar case, I decided to just go downtown to Beale Street, and I went to first it was the Cotton Museum, which was cool, and then it was the um oh gosh, it was the uh rock. Oh god, they're all kind of like so similar. It's like the Rock and Soul Museum of Rock and Soul, I think is what it was called. That's right.
Okay.
Which is super cool, and it was kind of like a lot of repeat information. Oh, Gesundheit.
Sorry.
It was a lot of repeat information, because um, and but it was cool though. It was sweet. And then what else happened? And then I went to the Bass Pro Shop.
Oh my god, the massive
Pro
one,
Shop,
the biggest pyramid.
the seventh largest pyramid in the world.
Jesus
And it's just
Christ.
a Bass Pro Shop, and it's actually like a really cool Bass Pro Shop. It had like a lot in it. There was like a moat kind of thing, and then like there was a bowling alley.
What the
It's inside
fuck?
the Wahlburger, which is kind of insane. There's a Wahlburger in there, which I had, and it was actually not bad. It's pretty bussin'. They have a really good jalapeno burger, so it's like it's got jalapeno, avocado, bacon, cheese, burger, and then bun, and it's really dope.
Okay, shout out to Mark, Donnie, and that one brother. Wahlburgers. Damn. Okay.
And that one brother, nobody gives a shit about that brother.
Yeah, I don't remember his name, and I'm gonna feel bad about it for the rest of my life right now.
Um,
Are you
and
googling the third brother's name?
huh?
Are you googling the third brother's name?
I literally will because I want to know it now because I feel like shit not knowing it.
Yeah, we're gonna
This
plug him
year.
in this. Okay, we got to give him the respect that he deserves.
Exactly, the Wahlbergs. The Wahlberg brothers. Here we go. Um, famous what? Mark and Donnie. Uh, holy shit. They have there's 9 siblings? Oh my god.
Okay, just Google the one that does the burgers.
But Paul's the one who does the burger.
Paul Wahlberg. Okay,
Paul Wahlberger.
Paul Wahlberger.
So and it was actually very good. They had these nice onion rings too. And I tried to try local beer while I was out there, just like a pint each time. Oh, and what was really cool was we went to this one barbecue shop. I won't mention the name because I don't want to get the bartender in trouble. But what happened was it's really dope. It was really nice staff, really cool to talk to. They were giving us like we were talking all about music and stuff, and they were asking
Yeah.
us, like how our trip was going and stuff. Everyone out there talks to you, man. Everyone out there has a conversation with you. And we were like hanging out. We got our barbecue. We decided to sit at the bar and have some beers, and you know, it was there was a commotion because an old lady had like fallen, which like she turned out to be okay. I think was the summation of that event. But everyone went dead silent when she fell. The whole place was like waiting in anticipation, making sure she was okay. Which like there were people there to help her, which was good, like family and
Yeah.
stuff. Like people were just on looking to make sure. Like it was kind of nice that everyone was just willing to be cool and calm and wait to see what happened. Because like over here in the Bay Area, people are kind of quick to rush back to their conversations, which can be like kind of like less of a concern about community. But anyway,
Yeah, that is true.
yeah. But in that commotion, the bartender, he's like, "Oh, you guys are looking a little low. Let me top you off there real quick," and he just gave us some more beer for free.
Oh, okay, cool.
Just because we were chatting them up and we were so cool. It was our vibes, dude.
Oh, that's awesome, man. That is
What
awesome.
what a G, dude. That guy was super nice, super cool. Oh, and then everyone also kept mistaking us for musicians. I guess we like kind of dressed like that. Um, I was having this like indie rock look to me, but then my friend, he's all dripped out to like fucking. He has like blazers on and like button downs and like a tie and stuff, and these really nice pants and these dope kicks. So he's like this very like he looks like this new age soul artist. But I guess that's like why they kept thinking we're musicians. I mean, like, we kind of are, I guess. I
Well,
like.
see, the reasoning that I can think with you in particular is because Spider-Man No Way Home.
I know of it, yeah.
Yeah, how there's like alternate versions of Peter that look completely different, but is like Peter Parker.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're basically like that version of like Tame Impala.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, someone looks at you and be like, "Is that Tame Impala?" I'm pretty sure that's Tame Impala.
I do look like Tame Impala. I definitely, especially because I trimmed the beard. It used to be like down to here for a little bit.
Exactly. Plus,
I
I can
trimmed
hear
it
you
up.
like put on like a nice like lo-fi kind of like track and just be like, "Ah,
um, yeah, that'd be sweet. Anyway, so yeah, that was also fun too. I forgot about that. That whole trip was just really fun. It was like it felt like nonstop most of the time. The problem I had with my amigo I went with was we weren't really communicating on like a certain type of schedule or itinerary kind of thing. And so the timing, my expectation was like, if we're gonna go do museums before the show, which we agreed upon, we got to be up early and be out and about during the day when they're open, And like
yeah,
he wasn't really at that point, and so I respect him for the way he wanted to vacation, and I wanted to vacation a different way. And luckily, the split was kind of nice because like halfway through the vacation, we decided to each do our own thing, which I think worked out for the better because I could go do my shit, he can go do his shit. It's hard
yeah,
vacationing with somebody, man. It's hard vacationing with somebody. Again, if like the expectation that you set isn't being met. But anyway, it all worked out. It was a great trip. That was like the snafu. And so what happened was I felt like a lot of the time I was having to. I didn't want to do things without him. I didn't want to leave him out. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna wait around and see when he's ready. And then it would take a long time. And I was like, okay, we need to get. I feel like we need to get going here. But he wasn't obviously in a rush. And again, I respect that now. But anyway,
yeah.
so the trip was overall great. It was a fantastic trip. And then coming back, I do regret I should have taken like 2 more days off of work. Um, but I had like it was just 2 days of work and then the weekend, and so I was kind of able to bounce through that and do that whole sort of thing. And yeah, that's been my. What else has happened in the last 2 weeks? I last week what happened? Nothing much really. I mean, I hung out with my lady. Oh, I got to tell you the story. Okay, the highlights of last week were I oh yeah, I was having dinner with my lady and her parents on Tuesday. They made steak and stuff, and we were hanging out, and that was cool. We spent the
Sweet.
week. Me and my lady spent the week watching all the Alvin and the Chipmunks movies, which I could provide detailed reviews of those later or next episode, if desired. It was actually really fun. I really enjoyed that experience. And then Thursday was really dope, dude. So like Thursday, okay, so Thursday I was supposed to. So I go to the bar. I go to this bar, Broncos, around here every Thursday because they have the two Jaeger bombs for $9. And I was supposed to. And so the band right now is out in L.A. They were drunk texting me that night, which was really funny and kind of cute. Or at least the lead singer was. And so then uh, fucking. So I was supposed to go with some coworkers instead. I was supposed to go with one of my buddies and one of my new people on my new team. And I guess she was going to bring her husband, but then he didn't want to go, so she didn't end up going. Want to just go without him. But I guess it's different when you're married. And then, excuse me, Angel bailed, but that's fine. So I decided to still go, right? Because I was like, I'm not letting this like go to waste. Because I already pre-gamed. I had like 4 shots. So I was like, I gotta go
Yeah.
drink. And so I went and I got there kind of like early-ish. The DJ wasn't even there, so I was like, oh no, is it a dead night? This just isn't working out. So I was like, oh fuck, the disappointment started to settle in. Then I was like, I'm here. I'm not just gonna come in and leave. So I was like, I'm gonna go up to the bar and order a couple of shots. And there's apparently a limit for your credit card, so I had to buy a beer on top of that as well. But that works out fine because I just took the 2 shots and nurse the beer. But anyway, so I was hanging out at the bar, um, and that was cool. So I got that. And then the DJ, I talked to the bartender. I was like, "Oh, no DJ tonight," because she recognized me. She was like, "Oh, hey, what's up?" And I finally caught her name that night. That was cool. She caught my name. And then she was like, "Oh no, the DJ's just late. He'll be here." And I'm like, "Okay, sick." And then like the DJ showed up, and then it was like about 10, 15 minutes later, it started getting packed. So I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna move to the dance floor, creep in a little bit, just hang out, do my thing." And I was happy just spending the night, just dancing, doing my own thing. But then like it was super. It was a super cool moment. It was there were like these college students. I can only assume this group. They come around and they're kind of like getting into my space. So I kind of like accidentally kind of like invade with them or sneak into their little gathering. I turn to this one gentleman and he catches my vibe and we're vibing together, and so then I'm actually part of the group, and then like they form a circle for moshing, right, for like doing whatever, right, just thrown in there. And then
Yeah.
it was so nice because one of the guys turns to me, he's like, "Get in there, man," and I was like, "Oh," and so I hopped in, and for like 7 seconds I hit the gritty, like the hardest I'd ever hit it, and then I hopped back out, and I was like, I felt like a god, dude. It was amazing.
Oh my
um,
god,
Oh, that
bro.
was a sweet experience. And then we danced for a bit more. We were boogieing and jamming, and I was like, okay, the group dissipated, and I was like, it's 11:30. I've got my dance in. I've got my drinking in. I'm gonna go home. I got work in the morning.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, see, now if you visit us down here, you got to hit the gritty. I got to see that happen.
we got. I'm showing you the gritty.
Yeah, show
I
me
can
your
hit that
gritty.
shit. So then, fucking, that was super fun. And what else was the other highlight of this week? Um, Sunday was cool. Yesterday was dope because I spent all afternoon at the beach with my lady. So we hung out Saturday night after I had D&D and dinner. So we're hanging out. She stayed the night, and the next morning we like got our stuff together. We decided to go to the beach. Um, Regrettably, I should have dropped off my car because my car is having as was the downside of last week was my car was having some battery issues. It was having some startup issues, and so after like it happened twice on Saturday, I was like, all right, I just got to take this motherfucker in, and then it happened again this morning. So I was like, I got to take it in. But I should have taken it in when we were at the beach. I could have left it there all day, and they could have like had it for me by the day, and that would have reduced my anxiety a bit. But I went to work this morning, and it like wouldn't start just before I was getting in. So I was like, oh fuck, like leaving the apartment, and um, and then I got there, and I was supposed to have a session there, but they no showed. And I was supposed to, and then I was leaving, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna take this to the dealership so I can get this like sorted out. I gotta handle this now, and not save it to the last minute. Which is good that I did it at least today instead of because I was gonna do it Friday before I drive down to you guys.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
but it turns out they were booked this morning, and so I had to leave it overnight. So I haven't had my car all day, which impacted my ability to do a session later. But I switched that to the phone, which that worked out. And what else was I gonna say? And so I have to wait till tomorrow to see if I can pick it up. But um, you know, I have to go. I have to go to the office tomorrow, print something out, and take it back to do an intake at home. Oh, which I'll have to turn in that packet tomorrow, or on Wednesday. So I'll need my car. It's just a lot. So like I need my car for work so I can do my job, but I don't have it right now. And then getting a rental is like fucking expensive. It's like $70 a day, dude. Not
Jesus.
including any of the protections you have to add on each day. You have to do like $30 of like no liability or whatever, and it's like what the fuck, man. Um,
That's some fuck shit. Fuck that.
it was BS. I got it covered through my insurance last time, but I mean, right now I may just like work from home as best I can until I get the car back, just to save some money. So it's no biggie. Because I'm already the turns out like the car is due for some service. So on top of the diagnostic fee, I have to that they're which is almost $300 they're charging me to even look at the goddamn thing and figure out what's wrong with it. They're like, oh, you're due for like $1,600 worth of like potential replacements, and I'm like, what the hell? Okay, like transmission checking and stuff like that. It's a what they call like a it's a they say you need it every 60,000 miles, which I mean might be true. I'm not a mechanic, but I'm pretty certain a lot of the stuff they were mentioning, not a lot of it, but quite a bit of it, I had gotten done already in some capacity. Realignment for sure, not so much. I can't remember the last time I went to America's Tires. Um, but anyway, so So yeah, so then but the beach day was fun. So back to the beach day. I didn't drop off the car. I dropped it off this morning. So the beach day was dope. So we left here just before noon, I want to say, because we got in at like 1 o'clock ish. One. Oh yeah, we just stopped for at a Best Buy because I forgot my speaker, so we picked up a speaker, charged it on the way. We stopped for burritos, which was super good. There's
Oh, you
a
cut
city
out
called
for a
Taqueria
second.
Santa Cruz. Super great burritos. Oh, we got burritos at the spot in Santa Cruz called Taqueria Santa Cruz, which is really good, really great. They have spicy salsa. Oh my god, that shit was kicking my ass on top of the
Damn.
tapatio. Um, it was like a
Damn.
lot of jalapeno in the pico de gallo, and I was like, oh, it's choking,
Ooh.
uh, coughing. And so then, but it was dope. It was super good, and their chicken burrito is like, whew, grilled chicken, man, way to go.
Yeah.
Uh, so then, yeah, the beach day was super fun. So we just hung out. I stayed in the shade because I'm a little easy burn boy, and I had my sun hat. Um,
Well, if I laugh too hard, I turn into a fucking tomato, so I totally get it.
no, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then, um, it was really funny. We ran into her friend Marina while we were out there, which is super cool. She was at the beach as well with her roommates, kind of far away from us, but she found us through like my lady's post on her story. But so yeah, that was my week. So today's been a bit stressful because I've been worried about like about the car and having to pay for it. But I mean, I'll be fine. I'll figure it out. I'm sure it's not going to be as much as they estimate it to be, but it could be. Anyway,
Yeah.
it might not be. So, what has your 2 weeks been like, sir? What have you been up to?
Really not much. I think the most exciting thing about my past 2 weeks is going to see more movies that I wanted to catch up on. I saw Evil Dead Rise twice. I saw the new Guardians of the Galaxy movie. I
Oh yeah, we
saw,
saw both of the. Okay, so I saw Guardians on Tuesday last week. That's right. That's what I was also doing.
yeah.
With that was oh my god, dude.
It
Oh
is
my
honestly
god.
the best Marvel film to come out after Endgame, and that is very disappointing because like they had so
There's
many
also
chances.
so many projects. You know what I mean? And it's like, but it was. Oh, it was dope. It was super fun.
Rocket Story,
I love
like
how they
oh my
fleshed out
god,
Rocket Story. Yeah, it was like
yeah.
really. I will say they kind of wasted Adam Warlock. I felt, but I don't know his character in the comics. I felt like there was more hype for him, but also maybe James Gunn just didn't know what to do with him.
Look, I was a little disappointed in what they did with Adam Warlock. It is kind of funny how they made him a himbo, basically, but
He is a himbo, absolutely.
I will admire his taste for music. It's an end credit scene. You guys will see it, and it's perfect.
Actually, yeah, that was dope. That was super fun.
Yeah, the fact they
Um,
managed to sneak
uh,
in a King Crimson reference in there, I'm like, perfect.
yep, that's dope. And then, but yeah, the movie and the soundtrack was amazing. There were like three separate occasions I was like gonna tear up. My favorite line in that movie was when the high evolutionary screamed. He said, "There is no God. That's why I stepped in." And I was like, "Whoa, that shit goes hard."
That is the hardest line Marvel's ever gonna drop ever, and
Absolutely, dude.
that's no cap.
So that was great. That was a great movie. And then Evil Dead Rise. Tell me your thoughts on that, dude. Now that we can finally talk about it. What the fuck, bro? That movie's crazy.
Perfect in every way. It is so good. It gears more towards the horror aspect and the comedy in the Evil Dead franchise, but I honestly liked it for what it was. It was perfect.
It was really just creepy, and I was on the edge of my seat. And there was like I just couldn't watch the scene where the daughter was like chewing the glass of wine. That was like too much for me, man.
No, for me it was the fucking mom outside the door looking through the peephole. Like,
Oh yeah, yeah, that was
yeah,
that.
that is just
Really
unnerving.
gross.
Just looking dead into the camera, just looking, well,
Like
ironically enough, dead.
yeah, that hallway scene was was unbelievable, and the way they shot it through the peephole through the keyhole was like awesome. Or not the keyhole, the what do you call it?
The people in the center of the door where you can see what kind of guests are coming to your place if you
Yeah,
want to let them
totally.
in and
Yeah,
out. Yeah,
that's a good
but
name. It's a long name, but it's a good name.
no, I realize that scene is like way more horrifying when you think about it because spoilers ahead if you haven't seen the movie. It's already been out, and if you're a fan
For
of
about a
Evil
month,
Dead,
yeah, it's been about out for about a month, I think.
like what the fuck are you doing if you haven't seen Evil Dead Rise? But
No,
whatever.
absolutely.
Spoilers ahead. In the hallway scene where those two brothers they introduce early on, one of them's trying to hit on the daughter, obviously.
Yeah.
When they get involved in the fight, and one of them is choking to death on an eyeball. Like, imagine that. You're that younger brother watching your older brother die in the most horrible circumstance ever, and then realize, oh shit, I'm fucked because there's an undead bitch about to kill me, and then literally rips your arms off and throws you against the corridor wall.
Yep. That was just yeah. That was it was extremely violent, but it was well done. The wood chipper scene at the end, I was like, no. When I saw the wood chipper, I was like, no fucking way they're using this thing. That was
I
sick,
knew it
dude.
as soon as we saw the wood chipper. I'm like, they're definitely using that.
And I love how it connects to the first 10 minutes out in the cabin, dude. Bitch
Yeah.
gets her scalp ripped off. I was like, whoa.
Yeah. Oh my god. Like, just everything Evil Dead just, like, amped up to 11, and it was perfect. Like, Alyssa Sutherland, if she does not get a goddamn award for this movie, I'm going to be very disappointed.
She was wow. I mean, just unbelievable. It was phenomenal.
Drop
And
dead
then
gorgeous, but also terrifying at the same time because they knew how to use her cheekbones just right.
she's hella bad, bro. But she was
Yeah.
also hella evil, and she was hella good at it.
Yeah.
And
It's still
this
funny how she drew inspiration from Jim Carrey's performance in The Mask.
that was her inspiration for it. That's actually really cool because I mean, like, the mask could be terrifying as well. You know what I mean? But
Oh,
like, Jim Carrey makes it comedic.
if you look at the original source material, it's actually straight like Evil Dead like Rise energy to it. Like it's actually sadistic.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Was there like actually like a mask that like Loki had and stuff or whatever?
No, it was based on a graphic novel, which then was turned into that classic '90s movie starring Jim Carrey. But the original
Uh,
source material was way more violent. Like this guy literally discovered this mask can make him do anything he wants to the real world. So he's like, "Oh, I'm just gonna get vengeance on everybody that's ever wronged me." So he just basically turns into like, you know, the Punisher.
he goes God he uses the God cheat codes in the school shooter game. Um,
Yeah,
but
pretty much
anyway,
pumped up kicks on a loop, and he's just like tearing apart souls like Looney Tunes style.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I need to watch The Mask again. That's a good one. The Son of the Mask is a shit sequel.
Oh,
That was
it's
so ass.
the worst thing about it too is they somehow got my boy Alan Cumming for that movie, and they did him dirty, man. They did him fucking dirty by having him in that movie.
They did him dirty. It's a shame. Um, but no, Evil Dead Rise was sick. That's
Yeah.
crazy. I forgot. Oh my god, that movie's awesome. You saw it twice. I don't blame you.
Yeah, no, it's I want to support movies like that, even though it's probably gonna make like a pretty good amount of money. I still want to support movies like that. I need to
Absolutely.
know that they're gonna make good content like that.
No, for sure. Absolutely. That was yeah. I definitely. There's a movie I want to watch again. Um, Super Mario was really fun. I would definitely like to watch Evil Dead again. That would be sick.
Yeah, I haven't seen Super Mario, but I probably will catch it on VOD at some point. I don't.
Uh-huh.
It's just one of those movies that I don't see myself watching in theaters. You know.
It's really fun though. It's a really good time. I don't think you have to watch it in theaters, but
Probably not. They're gonna make money regardless. So
it is fun though. It's very well done. Jack Black shines in it obviously as Bowser. He's really fun.
of course,
Uh,
like his press tour and everything. Like
yeah, he was really just amped up for the movie, man. I really loved how invested he was in it. And then like, I mean, like Chris Pratt, you kind of forget after a while. You're just like, okay, cool. It's like it just blends. The pacing is the poor part of the movie, but the pacing is bad because it has a lot of story to fit in into 90 minutes because you can't make a kids movie longer than 90 minutes. You're gonna lose their fucking attention.
yeah,
Uh, so but it was great. It was a great movie. That's an enjoyable one. What movies? There's not a lot of movies out recently. I know the new Fast X came out. I'm not really particularly.
oh, that's definitely
Uh,
another VOD for me. I'm sorry.
no, 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 don't be. Those fucking movies don't need to be seen in theaters. They're really like, they're the types of movies you put on in the background on like TNT at like 2 in the afternoon on a Saturday while you're doing chores. You're like, oh, okay, I'll just like stop and watch some of the cool stuff. I'll watch Ludacris be like blowing shit up.
Exactly. We'll also be a computer hacker at the same time because that makes sense.
Right, yeah, totally. It's believable that he would be skilled in doing that. Maybe he could, right? I mean, Soldier Boy was trying to get into the gaming industry,
I mean,
but
he is a musician, so he probably knows a thing or two about like using computers for sound mixing. So I mean, shit,
transferable skills, yeah.
that's not a giant leap, but
Not a big leap, but what else is out recently? There's that new movie. Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. I really want to see that one because that one's it's a good coming of age movie.
yeah, that one has one of the Safdie brothers, right?
I don't know, dude.
Well,
Um,
they're the indie fucking. Well, I don't know
oh,
if I want to use.
there's that Charlie Day movie, Fool's Paradise. He like kind of plays like a Charlie Chaplin type.
Ah, okay.
It looks like it's very physical comedy based. I might go see that. Like,
Hmm.
maybe we can go see that or something when I'm down there. I'd be down.
That'd be dope. I would love to do that. But one movie I did see in theaters that I think is underrated. I don't know if it's getting enough credit where credit is due, but it's Guy Ritchie's The Covenant.
Oh yeah, that's the one. That's the one where Jake Gyllenhaal is like the soldier, right? And then he loses the translator, but the translator is kind of like a badass.
Yeah, the translator is a total badass, and it's a fantastic movie. I would actually put it up in my top favorite war movies of all time. Mostly modern war, because we're talking World War II. Obviously, there's a whole separate list for that, but
Because there's so many fucking movies on that. But
yeah, there's a decent
that's
amount on Iraq, Afghanistan, but I think this one's definitely one of the better ones.
I really liked American Sniper. It had a tragic ending, but so did I guess Chris Kyle. Um,
I do like the movie, but you have to see it in a different perspective to truly appreciate the art and craft of the story. Personally, I still think my number one favorite is definitely Lone Survivor.
Lone
So
Survivor's just crazy good. I actually we were shitting on Mark Wahlberg. I actually really like that movie.
yeah,
Um,
no,
it
when
was
Mark
very
Wahlberg
good.
does a patriotic movie, it can actually slap pretty
Oh no,
hard.
no, he's really good at making those like very like American nationalism movies. You know, like
Yeah,
what did he do? The Patriots Day or something? The one about the Boston Marathon.
yeah, he almost had me just coming up out of my seat, being like, "Yeah, yeah."
I loved him in Ted. I will say, I love Ted is one of my favorite movies like ever. It's hilarious. It's a pot smoking teddy bear. How could you not like it? You know what I mean?
I know, right? But I think in
Um,
terms of actors who are great at comedic timing and also badasses in action films, I'm sorry, the brains goes over to Chris Hemsworth. I'm sorry, that's just how it is.
Chris Hemsworth can be funny, man.
His comedic
I
chops are actually really good.
Yeah, I need to he's very good. I need to rewatch Extraction, the Netflix movie he did, because they have like a
Yeah.
second one coming out apparently. I guess it was that successful.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so that's cool. I mean, I liked the first one from what I remember. It was pretty good. But what other good war movies are there? We got sidetracked there a bit.
Another great war movie. Oh God.
Saving Private Ryan is definitely up there for sure.
That's a great World War II flick, but honestly, I think out of World War II films, I still think Inglorious Bastards is top of the list because it manages to balance out the horrors of World War II, but also still being just satisfying violence. You know?
Yeah, I will say, man, it's a good movie. It's well done. Um, well, the first time I watched it, I was very surprised by it, but I think I was too young to be watching it as well, so that was kind of the problem.
I
Um,
think we didn't have the right taste for truly unique cinema yet.
I was also like, I don't know, probably 12 when that movie came out. So
Yeah,
anyway, um,
it's like being 8 and watching Pulp Fiction for the first time.
yeah, for real. Oh my God, yeah, I wouldn't imagine. I could not imagine having to explain the GIMP scene to an 8-year-old. Um,
Or an 8-year-old just saying in class, "I am pretty fucking far from okay," and somehow it makes sense to him.
someone starts bullying him. He's like, the path of the righteous man. um,
Oh my! I
he
mean,
starts
in
fucking
America, there's a
monologuing
good
Samuel
chance he
Jackson.
actually could pull a gun on some kid. So there's.
Yeah, he'd be packing heat in his little backpack, dude. Dude, I saw this fucking. Speaking of, okay, we're jumping topic here, but school shooting. So there was an ad and they saw, whereas it was teaching you how to. It was an ad on TV, teaching you how to evade an active shooter event.
Jesus.
It's the active shooter training we get at work, and while we shouldn't be out getting that at work, we certainly shouldn't be getting that on our TVs at home. That is an absolutely just fucked up thing to do. That we're not resolving the issue directly. We're just like, hey, survive it, because all these politicians get paid so well to support the NRA because they fucking bribe them into doing laws that are more profitable than actually doing anything effective for both citizens and law enforcement to track this shit. But okay, anyway,
No, I love how Jon Stewart, of all people, calls out a Republican congressman that he's talking to, but
yep.
the whole laws that they're putting in place against people doing drag, things related with kids and whatnot. It's oh, drag queens reading to children. It's like that's a major problem with you guys, right? But like, a school shooting happens, you're not gonna do anything. And it's like, well, no, there's like policies in place. Like, no, they clearly aren't working. Like, you don't give a shit. He's basically telling him you don't give a shit if kids get fucking killed.
Yeah, it was a well done argument, man. I like that whole
Yeah,
video because it's like it really opened my eyes too. It's like I didn't really when you like again it's the art of argumentation. It's like deconstructing the hypocrisy, and I really appreciated that, and it provided new perspective for me because I always just I'm generally like a kind of guy who's like, yeah, guns are pretty bad. We've got a huge like school shooting problem, but then it turns out recently the number one like leading cause of death for children in America, for teens and children, is guns.
yeah. Meanwhile, these people out here are like so concerned with like anyone from the LGBTQ community, like drag queens and stuff like that. Indoctrinating children when really, like, they genuinely don't give a shit if they're not doing base level things to prevent, I don't know, school shootings where children get fucking killed, bruh.
Yeah, doing like effective background checks because like the whole issue in that video was like that senator was like repealing laws that like would reduce the need for like necessary background checks and registration, and those are things that like help law enforcement be able to track like who has a gun and who doesn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like you
Um,
don't get to say, "Oh, I'm doing everything I'm doing for the children." Banning guns, why would I want to do that?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, why would that be on the top of the agenda there, man?
Yeah.
Huge problem.
Kids
But
get
yeah,
shot,
no,
it happens all the time. Fucking hell.
actually, in this country, it does happen a lot. And in
Mm.
fact, it was I think it was like 2 months ago, a toddler shot like its sibling because it found a gun in the house.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, I do like guns. I do like the idea of being able to defend yourself, but it's like we're so loose on like who can get a gun
It's
and
all just
whatnot.
it's all about just regulation, man. I absolutely think that everything except like maybe meth should be like legal but regulated. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just let the government help moderate it. You know what I mean? Because humans will we're very good at tiptoeing into habits, right, and doing things, uh, going to these modes. And I think like if you have someone there to moderate all humans, you know what I mean, so that we at least all can agree, like, okay, yeah, I shouldn't shoot this person because it'd be illegal. Don't shoot
Yeah.
somebody when you're mad.
No,
That's a crime.
literally in the Wild West, like they would literally have like, okay, if you're outside of this major town, like you can have your gun on you because it's hard, it's a hard knock life being a cowboy out there. So, but when you're in town, when you go into our saloons, when you go into like certain places of establishment, you check in your fucking gun because of course we're not having everyone in town own a fucking gun
Yeah,
ready at
not
the
having
hip.
anyone ready to shoot somebody's head off, dude. Just like at the fucking jump of a hand. You know what I mean? Like it's ridiculous. It's
Exactly.
all about just moderation, man. Because humans are very poor at keeping themselves in check, especially when
Yeah.
they get into like emotional states and people get mad and like flustered and do stuff. That's why like I really don't like. I'm always conflicted about going out to bars, right? Bars especially are a distinct place where like I usually spend a lot of my time outside of work intoxicated in one way or the other, for
Yeah.
sure. But like with alcohol intoxication, you're very like it's a disinhibitor. You're very willing to act more on emotion, and you're much more willing to feel more emotion. So again, it's sort of that feedback loop. And so people get very emotional and reactive when you're at a bar. And so I never like I'm always weary of going out to a bar because you never know what someone's gonna fucking say or how someone's gonna take something because they're different varying levels of alcohol intoxication, and it's they can either be like just buzzed or they can be completely shit faced, and like you don't know until you start talking to them. But it's always a very weary thing to be doing, especially because like when bars get crowded, oh my god, unpredictable. That's why they have bouncers. That's why they have security, because these are the people moderating and keeping in check the fucking patrons who are getting drunk. Because again, humans
Exactly.
can't take accountability or responsibility. They very much struggle with that. But anyway.
Yeah, no, that it just be like that. But all right, we're probably gonna wrap this up in about 5 minutes. But I should shout out the fact that I also did see finally the top two Nick Cage movies that I wanted to see for a long time: Color Out of Space and then Mandy. I finally saw both of those.
Okay, so I haven't seen Mandy yet, but I've seen Color Out of Space, and that one was sick.
Oh, it was so good. I think the only gripe I could have with it is that they touched up the CGI just a little bit near the end, but other than that, perfect. They hit every mark on doing an H.P. Lovecraft, adaptation perfectly on film.
No, absolutely. They did that really well. Um, it was creepy. It was interesting. It was really that unknown, and that I love the fucking the mage out in the forest. He just like knew what was going on, but he was just this fucking stoner guy.
Oh, the
Um,
fact that it was Chong from Cheech and Chong too.
yeah, for real, dude.
Oh my
Perfect.
god.
Yeah, and then you saw Mandy. So Mandy's supposed to be this like psychedelic kind of like heavy metal violent movie.
Oh, it's this like psychedelic heavy metal revenge power fantasy. Like it is the most perfect slow burn film I've ever seen in my life.
Damn, I might see Mandy tonight. What was the other movie I was going to see tonight?
Oh, God. Wait.
I'll just
Uh,
rewatch this episode to find out. I might just watch Mandy.
uh Walk the Line. Walk
Walk
the
the
Line.
Line. That's right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Anyway,
Yes.
yeah. Okay, so I definitely need to check out Mandy.
Yeah. It's 2 hours long. It's a little slow, so you need to be like pretty energized to like be really into it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
But it was fantastic. It was great storytelling. Nick Cage, I think that was his best performance I've ever seen in film. I'm sorry, that's
Damn.
just yeah. There's this whole bathroom sequence that everyone talks about online. And I was like, okay, I'm curious to see how this plays out, and it is the most emotional, gut wrenching screaming he's doing like I've ever heard.
Wow.
Yeah,
Cool.
it's fantastic.
Sweet. I'll definitely have to add that on the list. But it looks like we've been recording for about an hour now, I think.
Exactly. Also, another thing in Mandy, 2 words: chainsaw fight.
Chainsaw fight, dude.
Yeah, literally, like Nick Cage and then some enemy. They both have chainsaws and they clash chainsaws like this is fucking Star Wars: Revenge of the Sith, baby.
Oh my god, that's insane. I need to watch this movie, dude.
It's so amazing. All right, so this is the 9 to 5 boys. Clocking out, baby.